So I don't need to wait around on this head here to get bigger and just hope and hope, because what will happen is... What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope all y'all are having a fantastic day. It is Saturday, December 23rd here in South Georgia, and on today's video we got a few things we need to do kind of scattered around the garden. We need to check on our onions, fertilize them a little bit, probably need to weed and cultivate them a little bit as that soil's packed down again. Got some beautiful purple cauliflower here behind me that we're going to harvest, and since a lot of people have been asking, we're going to check on our ginger over there by the barn, see how that did. But before we get started, just a little quick weather update. Y'all probably heard me say before that it's not unusual for us to be wearing shorts on Christmas Day, and that very well could happen this year. It's pretty warm out here today. It's kind of a shorts and t-shirt day out here today, even though I've got pants on in the low 70s. Had a nice little football practice out in the front yard this morning. Got the kids good and tired. They're taking a nap now, so we can go do some holiday stuff later on. And since it's so warm out here today and supposed to be warm the next few days, I went ahead and planted another cool season cover crop in this plot yesterday. Basically the same mix that we've got over there that our chickens are finishing up on now. So I ran the sprinkler on this a good bit of last night and some this morning. Should be able to get this stuff up and going pretty fast in this warm weather. Now over here where our short day onions are, last time we looked at these about a week and a half ago, we had to do a little light cultivation because our soil had gotten pretty packed down by some hard, long rains, and so we did that, just cultivated the first couple inches, and I told you that those onion plants would probably pop after we did that. They did pop, but shortly after, just a few days after we did that, we got some more heavy rains and we're back kind of where we were. So like I said, after we did that light cultivation a week and a half ago, we did see a nice little pop with these on all rows, but especially this row right here saw some nice fast growth. But after getting some more hard, heavy rains, you can see that soil's kind of packed down and waterlogged again. And that's just part of gardening. Yeah, it would be nice if every time we got some rain, it was just this kind of soft, delicate, slow soaking in rain, but it's not always like that. Some of the ponds around here had gotten pretty low and dry, so I'm sure all these farmers are glad to have some heavy rain to help fill those ponds back up. Just means we got to cultivate our onions a little more than we normally would. And it's not like it takes a long time. In just about 5 minutes there with the wheel hoe and the cultivator teeth, we've got this soil breathing again. And now, as a part of our onion fertilization plan, I want to give it one more round of a somewhat balanced fertilizer, promote a little more root development before we start really pumping the nitrogen to these onions in the next few weeks. So I'm gonna give mine some of this. I could also use the AgroThrive general purpose formulation, but I had this jug in the back of my buggy, so that's what I'll use. And I think I'll just kind of hand pour it alongside these rows. I could inject it. I'm set up to do that, but that stuff over there doesn't really need feeding. We only really need to feed these short day onions here. So just to make it quick and simple, I think we'll use the bucket method. And hopefully by now everybody knows that this works much better if you mix it all up in a dog's bucket. So we're just gonna do, I don't know how many ounces that was, maybe around 12, maybe around 14 ounces or so. And add some water, mix it up. Now I probably should have took that hand nozzle off and just used a water hose to fill my bucket. Got a little foamy on me, but that's all right. Not too bad there. I think this one bucket should be good enough for these 4 rows of short day onions. So we'll just stretch it out. We'll get them all fed, get us a pitcher full here, and we'll just start pouring it along these rows just like that. So we had enough in our bucket there for all our short day onions, even had enough for our tater onions over there. Now you may be thinking, you big dummy, you just stomped down all your nicely cultivated soil there by walking in there and pouring fertilizer on those onions. And you would be correct, but I knew that liquid fertilizer wasn't gonna stick very well on that slick, compacted soil, wouldn't absorb very well. So that's why I cultivated first. I can always come in here tomorrow, take another 4 or 5 minutes, do it one more time, help it air out a little more. And now for one of my favorite portions of any video we do, getting some groceries. Now, I will admit, earlier this week I played a bit of a dangerous game with some of these cauliflower heads. I could have harvested them earlier this week. They weren't as big as they are now, but they were big enough to harvest. But I wanted to wait a little longer, let them get a little bit bigger. We had some freezing temps earlier in the week, and I knew that could mean danger for exposed cauliflower heads. Sometimes freezing temps can turn them to mush. Thankfully, it didn't, and we've got some beautiful heads to harvest. Now, we've only got a couple heads of this purple cauliflower to harvest, still waiting on our white cauliflower and the rest of this purple cauliflower in this row. But these two nice heads will be enough for a meal, enough to get the air fryer hot. Now, cauliflower is a little different than broccoli in that you have a little more leeway with your harvest here. Broccoli, you got to be real careful. When those heads get big, they can go from beautiful to seedy in just a day or two. With cauliflower, the only thing we really worry about is the sun bleaching them too much. But these right here still look really, really good. They might get bleached if we left them out here another few days, especially with this hot weather we're having. But that right there is perfect to me. So we're gonna come in here, get a nice little cut. I've grown bigger heads of purple cauliflower, but that one right there, whew, sure is pretty to me. We'll chop and drop those leaves there a little bit. So there you can see that. Man, that's pretty nice uniform color on that. Not quite as dark purple as the graffiti variety that I've grown before. This variety is called deep purple, so a little bit of a lighter purple, but beautiful nonetheless. And here's our other head back in here. Probably can't see it very well. We'll get it uncovered. It's about the same size as that other head. Another really nice, dense head of cauliflower. This thing is packed. There's a lot of food in that one little head right there. So we got some nice cauliflower there, and I think we'll grab some broccoli too. That way we can have a nice little roasted vegetable medley tonight. Now, when we assessed all these brassicas several weeks ago, I told you that my broccoli, for some reason, wasn't overachieving like everything else in this plot here, and wasn't really sure why. I'm leaning towards the fact that the seeds I had were just older and maybe it lost a little bit of vigor, because they should have had plenty of nutrients there. The broccoli seeds I used, I think, were 3 or 4 years old, so maybe they just weren't quite as strong as some of these new seeds that we planted in here. That's my best guess, but we're gonna get some broccoli anyway. So I've grown enough broccoli to know that when my plants are kind of small and they start putting on heads, to not expect a massive head of broccoli. Ideally, we'd like to see our broccoli plants as big or bigger than those cauliflower plants there, but that's not what we've got. So I know, based on the size of this broccoli plant right here, that this head is not going to get much bigger than this before it gets seedy and becomes kind of inedible. So I don't need to wait around on this head here to get bigger and just hope and hope, because what will happen is we'll end up losing it and it'll be chicken food. So although it's not as big as I'd like it to be, it's still something we can eat. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. A lot of times I'll grow broccoli heads that are twice as big as that, but I'll take what I can get. So I snagged a few more of those underwhelming broccoli heads, and we got some nice little mess of groceries there. And then lastly, as promised, let's check on our ginger over here, this little area we call the Garden of Neglect. So as the name suggests, this area does look a little neglected. I need to trim back these herbs a little bit. You get that bed in a little better shape. Need to trim back my Okinawa and spinach a little bit. But we did have a decent little grow out of ginger in this bed right here. And we had some asparagus growing in that bed over there that did okay. So we want to see what we've got here underneath the soil. See if we actually made any ginger. So based on what we've learned with our turmeric grow outs, I'm not going to pull all of this. I'm going to leave most of it in the soil here. Just going to pull enough for us to use in the kitchen. And then I'll probably get some of these weeds out of here, rake up some of these leaves around here, put those on top. So kind of keep the weeds at bay throughout the winter. So I'm just going to get the larger stalks right here, scratch around underneath them, and see how we did. There we go. Not awful right there. considering what we started with. Nice little chunk of ginger right there underneath that plant. See if we got any more. I think that was all that was under that plant. Let's check this one right here. UPS man's honking over there. Yeah, and that hunk there wasn't near as big, which tells me that these smaller plants here probably wouldn't be worth pulling. We'll leave them in the soil. They can volunteer next year, and they should make a lot more next year. So I rinsed that off a little bit there so you could see it better. It just smells amazing. We definitely got more than we started with. There we can see the little piece we planted. So we ended up growing a piece that was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 times the size of the little piece we planted. We started out just a little bag of ginger we got from Trader Joe's, and we keep doing this just like we did with our turmeric. We'll get more and more every year. Just keep multiplying this stuff and have a nice continual supply of ginger. Goodness. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. As always, you can find the AgroThrive fertilizer and a lot of other products we use around here on our website at lazydogfarm.com. And if you want to see how we planted that ginger that we just pulled, watch this video right here. We'll show you how we took those little pieces and put them in this raised bed. So check that out, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.